Hi, readers. You've been doing some pretty powerful and ambitious thinking in your book club books lately. You've been thinking about what social groups the characters are in. You've been thinking about the power dynamics between those different social groups and the ways that that's affecting those characters. This is pretty high level work. We're going to build on this work today by thinking about the ways that our stories reinforce or challenge assumptions that we or society might make about the social groups that the characters are in. This might sound kind of complicated, but I promise you that if we think along together, you're going to be pretty good at this pretty fast. So first things first, I want you to go and grab your materials. Pause the video if you need to. You're going to need your book club book, a notebook or paper, and a pen or pencil. It can literally just be a scrap of paper. So pause the video now, grab that stuff, and then come back. Okay, you ready to go? Let's do this. First thing I'm going to do is show you a couple of pictures. I want to get your gut reaction. What pops into your head first, okay? You can either jot it down, you can whisper it to your pet next to you on the bed, or honestly, you can just think it in your head. Ready? Gut reaction. What's popping into your head? Let me see if I can read your mind. Are you thinking pink? Maybe you're thinking girly. Or maybe even something like toys for girls. Am I right? Let's try it another time. Ready? Here's your picture. Okay, this time, what did you jot down? Did you jot boy stuff? Or maybe you whispered blue? Or maybe you're even thinking the boy aisle in the toy store. So, readers, maybe some of you thought other things, but I'm guessing that a lot of you made those same assumptions. And the question that I want to ask you today is, where do we learn these assumptions, right? This idea that because something is pink, it's for girls, because it's a doll, that means it's for girls to play with. Or on the flip side of that, the idea that because something is blue or green or red and has an action figure, that makes it for boys. These are also known as stereotypes. These are widely held assumptions that a lot of people in society just assume automatically. Now, I know that many of you are probably thinking, well, I'm not like that. I don't play with dolls, or I'm a girl and I like action figures. That is totally normal. And the thing about stereotypes is that they're generalizations about a group. They're not necessarily true for individuals. You and I all know maybe boys who enjoyed playing with dolls as little kids, or girls who, when they were little, wanted an action figure, right? Like that's totally common. But we learn these assumptions from our families, from the media, from TV shows, from honestly walking into a toy store and seeing these sorts of messages. So, how does this connect to my book club book? Here's how. Your job today is going to be to think about, when does the text you're reading reinforce those common assumptions and stereotypes about groups? So here is my little graphic I made. Here's Rafiki. He's representing your text, and you can see he is reinforcing, supporting Simba here, who's representing our assumptions and stereotypes, holding them up. When does our text do that around race or gender or any other social group? On the other side, we also need to notice when the text is challenging those stereotypes. So here's Simba again. This time Simba's the text, and you can see he's attacking and challenging Scar, who represents our assumptions and stereotypes. As you get older and the texts and movies and stories that you read and watch become more and more complicated, I want you to notice how they show both sides of that coin. They both reinforce stereotypes and they challenge stereotypes at different times. Your job is to do this in your book today. So let's practice. You guys know I love a video text, so we're going to watch a couple of quick videos today, and I want you to take notes. In your notebook or on your piece of paper, I want you to draw a quick T-chart like this. And we're going to jot on one side some bullet points of where these videos reinforce stereotypes, and on the other side where they challenge stereotypes. If you need to pause the video now to get your T-chart in your notes, please do. Notice that I put our little pictures here so you can remember supporting versus attacking those stereotypes. Okay, here is our first video. It's for Lala Loopsy. Here are your guiding questions. Which details reinforce stereotypes? And which details do you notice that challenge stereotypes? Here we go.
We're Lala Loopsy. Hey! We're Lala Loopsy. Jewel sparkles, she's a princess. Stormy loves music the best. Lala Loopsy, hair so cute now. We love our pets. Meow. She's as sweet as candy. She's got that creativity. Hey, we're Lala Loopsy. We're Lala Loopsy. Hey! Lala Loopsy comes with pet and hair you can style.
So, gut reaction. What are some details you're noticing that either reinforce or challenge stereotypes in this text? Go ahead and pause the video now, jot a couple of ideas down. Okay, here's the list that I have come up with former students. Let's see if your list looks kind of like ours. Reinforcing stereotypes is kind of a little more obvious in this video. One of the stereotypes is that girls like dolls. We didn't see anybody who seemed to be presenting as a boy in that video, and they were also using the word she, like girls are the only ones playing with these dolls. That's definitely reinforcing that stereotype. We also saw a lot of pink and purple, right? And those, as we know, have been sort of considered traditional girly colors, even though colors are really just colors. Anyone can like any color. Another reinforcing thing is this idea of princesses, right? Like they said, she's a princess, like the idea that girls like princess stuff. I certainly know a lot of girls that are not interested in princess stuff, but hey, that's definitely like a really common stereotype we got. Did anybody get anything that challenges stereotypes? That one is a little more tricky. Let's go back and watch one more time and see if there's any small details that challenge those typical stereotypes that we're used to seeing surrounding girls.
We're Lala Loopsy. Hey! We're Lala Loopsy. Jewel sparkles, she's a princess. Stormy loves music the best. Lala Loopsy, hair so cute now. We love our pets. Meow. She's as sweet as candy. She's got that creativity. Hey, we're Lala Loopsy. We're Lala Loopsy. Hey! Lala Loopsy comes with pet and hair you can style.
So we've got girls like dolls, pink, princesses. What details did you notice that maybe challenged or went against those common assumptions and stereotypes? Maybe you noticed the line, she's got that creativity, or I think there was another one where they talked about how the girl who loves music. Those are not typical stereotypes that we usually hear about, right? Some of you might have noticed the kind of punk looking doll. She had like black and white stripes and was wearing like purple instead of pink. These are small little things, but they're tiny little details you need to notice that actually kind of go against those typical narratives of girls as just like interested in princesses and like looking cute and that sort of thing. So this is your job in your book today. Notice those small details. Should we practice again? Let's try another one. I got another video for you. I want you to draw another T-chart in your notes, just underneath the other one. Once again, reinforce on one side, challenge on the other. You can go ahead and pause your video if you need time to do that. This one is for this thing called Goldie Blocks, okay? This one's a little longer. Here we go.
To buy us pink toys, and everything else is for boys, and you can always get us dolls, and we'll grow up like them falls. It's time to change.
I'm going to pause it right here. I want you to stop and I want you to jot your ideas that you're noticing so far that are either reinforcing or challenging stereotypes about girls. Did you get some good ones? If you mostly focused on the reinforcing side, I want you to look on the challenging side this time, and vice versa. If you mostly looked at the challenge side, I want you to gather some details for the ways that it's reinforcing stereotypes. Let's keep watching.
We deserve to see a range, 'cause all our toys look just the same. And we would like to use our brains. We are all more than princess maids. Girls who build a spaceship, girls who code a new app, girls who grow up knowing that they can engineer that. Girls, that's all we really need is girls to bring us up to speed. And girls, our opportunity is girls. Don't underestimate girls. Girls, 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 girls.
Okay, readers, pause the video here, and I want you to go ahead and jot down any more details you notice that either reinforce or challenge stereotypes. Ready? Okay, so I would be so curious to hear what you guys came up with. Starting with the reinforced side, like I definitely still saw a lot of that pink and purple, right? And that kind of like reinforces that idea that girls like to play with pink and purple. On the other hand, you might have noticed things on the challenge side, like she said that she's bored with pink princesses. She said the line, "You think you know what we like." We saw girls engineering, doing building projects, running around, wearing hard hats and tool belts and safety goggles. Those things definitely challenge those narratives about princesses and girls being passive and just interested in pink and things like that. If you want to watch the video again, I'll make sure to link it in our Schoology lesson so you can see it again because there's a lot to see in that video. Okay, readers, so your job now is to try this in your book club book. I want you to make one final T-chart for today. You're going to put the title of your book up at the top, one more reinforce and challenge T-chart. This should be very familiar by this point. And your job is going to be to gather as many notes as you can about as many different ways that the characters' actions, words, inner thinking, the things in the plot, how those things either reinforce stereotypes and assumptions about those groups. It might not just be gender. Today we really focused on gender, but it might be about race or ability or disability. It might be about a character that has a lot of money or doesn't have a lot of money. It might have to do something about family structure. There's so many different social groups you could focus on, okay? The notes that you come up with today are going to help you in your book club conversation this week and also in your final project where you think about where you're going to publish your final thoughts about like stereotypes and challenging stereotypes in your book. If you have any questions, reach out to me or your literacy teacher. Good luck. We can't wait to see your thinking about this.